Hello Bitsbrood, this is Craig from bitsbox.co.uk here, and in this video I'm going to be doing a kitbash, and as you can probably see from the title, it's a bit of a weird one. It was a kitbash that sort of appeared to me in a dream, and I sort of wrote it down from what I could remember, and I'm going to recreate it in this video. So yeah, it's not quite Yesterday by Paul McCartney, or Jimi Hendrix having a dream about Purple Haze, but yeah, I guess my life is so sad. I'm so engulfed in this hobby. Can't call it sad because we all love a hobby, but maybe it's just such a big part of my life that yeah, it's appearing in my dreams. And to be fair, I've been in this hobby for over 25 years, and I think it's the first time I've ever dreamt of a kitbash, so maybe it's long overdue. But anyway, let's just hit the desk. Okay, so the base of this miniature is going to be Fabius Bile. So luckily I had a Fabius Bile miniature kicking around for a while that I was going to convert up and then never got round to doing. Obviously that's been lodged in my subconscious, and that's probably why it's become the basis of this miniature. So yeah, I'm going to build up the body, but I am going to lose that head. So the head's going to come off, and I will also shave down and file down the hair as well. And we put on a new head on that. And yeah, the miniature in my dream did have the sort of long white hair of Fabius Bile, but had a different sort of face. So I'll be trying to sculpt some hair later, which, spoiler alert, doesn't go too great, but I'm going to stick with it because it's meant to represent that miniature that I dreamt about for some bizarre reason. So we're going to be having different arms as well, so I'm just chopping the pegs off Fabius Bile and just sanding down them areas flat. And then I can just glue the body pieces together like so. So nothing too major at the moment, and there's a little bit of a gap, and we'll look at that later on as well. There's another piece that's got to go in there, and we can also take the little peg off this side as well. So, I've got Lucius the Eternal here, and annoyingly, in my dream, the miniature had this massive whip that arced around, just like Lucius. So, yeah, I ended up buying this just for his whip. Although, that said, I've got some other kitbashing ideas for the future, and Lucius's body will probably be used in that, so it's not going to be a total waste, and there's some really cool bits in here that I can use for other projects as well. And I'll probably use his shoulder pads for this also. The whip is really cool, but I'm not going to glue the whole thing together just yet. You can see there's this massive piece that just goes all the way around, and I think that might get in the way when we do some other pieces, so I'll put that on at the end. So just for now, I'm going to have the shoulder pad and the arm, and I'll also put on that little bit of a whip as well. So part of the whip goes into the shoulder pad, which is why I've kept the shoulder pad, which I think is quite cool. And I can quite easily just glue that straight onto Fabius Bile. You can see there's a little bit of a tube there on the shoulder pad, so I can sort of line it up in a way that will go onto his chest. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, there's a little gap here, and usually this bit would go in with these tools, and I don't think the tools will really fit this, and they're quite cool, so I don't want to file them down or anything like that, so I'm just going to snip them off completely, and then we'll fill in whatever gaps left with some green stuff. Now my green stuff work, as you may have seen from previous videos, leaves a lot to be desired, and even more so when I do the hair later on. So I will find something to cover that up as well, like maybe a holster or a scabbard or something. But for now, this bit can go into the bottom. And if you find yourself using Fabius Bile as a base for a kitbash, and you're taking these tools away and you want to do something similar, use some tweezers to get this bit in, because it's really difficult without them. And there we go. Get that in there quite nicely, and yeah, we can fill that little gap. And I've got some green stuff here. I don't know why it's this sort of shade. Maybe I had a bit too much blue in there. Not really going to make too much of a difference. I can pop that in like so. And it'll take some smoothing out, some blending, some cutting. But eventually we will get there. And that's patched up as much as I can do. I've just followed some of the lines as well on his own cloak. It does look a bit rough, but don't worry. So anyway, we've got this, is it a Screamer pistol from the Noise Marines. It's really cool. It's quite large, but I quite like it. In my dream, I have no idea what he had in his left hand. I can't remember it that vividly. So we're going with this. We've also got this little chest piece that came with Fabius Bile, and I'm just going to chop a little bit off that and then glue it in place. And then I can use the other shoulder pad from Lucius. That can go on there like so. And then this head is also from the Noise Marines. So yeah, it's sort of like a masked head with sort of Fabius Bile style long hair. So I had to chop the neck off, and it's going to go on like so. And yeah, I didn't film the whole green stuff process, but here's me just like put some lines in with my knife to try and do a bit more of the hair. And yeah, I want it sort of like just to one side, sort of like how Fabius Bile has it, but I don't know, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not really going to do anything with this miniature. I've only sort of done it for the video. I think if I was doing this for an army or something, I'd probably replace the head. But as I'm trying to make it look like it did in my dream, then it is what it is. This is what it was. So, you know. Now, you might recognise this backpack from the Night Lord with Jump Pack Lord that I made recently. And again, that's probably why it was in my subconscious. It's a really cool backpack from Atman Forge. You can find it on our site. And yeah, that's going on his back. And yeah, as I said earlier, I'm going to fill this gap with a holster. I'm going to take one from Blade Guard Veterans, because they're really large holsters, so it'll fill the gap quite nicely, and it'll also look a bit more believable for his massive Screamer pistol. Even though I've never seen a Space Marine or Chaos Space Marine bolt pistol that can actually fit in any of their holsters. The holsters always seems like much smaller than the guns they carry, but you know, it's what it is. But yeah, all that's left to do now is glue on that whip, which I have right here. I'm going to arc it round so it just goes underneath the pistol. And I think that wraps around quite nicely. And here we have the final miniature. And yeah, alright, just ignore the hair. Ignore the hair. There's a reason why Chaos Space Marines always have their hair up in a top knot, and it's because if they don't, they look like this, and it's a bit goofy. But that's just how it was. And yeah, maybe if I decide to use this guy in the future, I will just change his head. I've got a Lord, is it Discordian? I think I've got one of his heads spare. I think that'd work quite well. I don't even know what this guy would be used for. It's just what it is. But fun to make. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. It's a bit silly, a bit different. I've got some more Kitbash videos in the pipeline, which I'm quite excited about. So do subscribe for them. And also, if you're watching this when it does go out, I think there'll be a few days left to enter our giveaway. So do look on our channel for that video. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. And all that's left to say is thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.